again, back on Facebook around 9:30 on a Thursday evening. As promised, we are here once again. My name is Rod Morgan. I will serve as the host this evening of our sports program here on the Morgan, podcasting network. We call it Balls and Brew. Every podcast, every live video stream that we do here on the network, you can find on Facebook. You can find on our YouTube page. And the only reason any of that is possible is because of this man right here. I played many games of football with this man in elementary school, in junior high, in high school. And Jimmy, what thing remained constant during every one of those games? What position must I be every time? No questions asked.
Quarterback. Rod did a fantastic job at it. You had the end zone in your front yard there. The street is the boundary on the right. You don't want to get run over by a car. You had the little utility box on the right there. So you got to be careful, but Rod always put it where it needed to be.
Listen, longtime listeners of this show see the way that I quarterback us week after week here, and they have no doubt that I had certainly played quarterback when we were having fun in the yard. The quarterback of our team, the backup quarterback of our team, let's say, who's always a bit older, who always has a hat on the sideline. When they take that hat off, you're always a little bit surprised by their hairline. The backup quarterback of this podcast is our guy. He used to broadcast from North Carolina, and now we're happy to have him back here in the Hoosier State. It's my guy, Chris King. Chris, what are we going to fight about this week?
Well, we can start off right there. When you said older, you forgot wiser, Rod.
That's true. I did forget wiser. I should have listen, I was giving you the dig, and I should have given you a little bit of cookie, right? I got to give a little bit of cookie even when I'm doing the dig. I should know better than that as the host.
And how about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? We'll get there. How about them Colts? We'll get there. But we can't talk football without our football handicapper, our guy. He's chopping up the numbers. He's doing the research. We literally cannot tape until late on Thursday night because this man needs all that extra time to apply his formulas. He's our handicapper. He's Josh Williams. Josh, hello.
Yeah, it didn't do me any good in week one. I usually get off to a fast start. It's one of my favorite weeks, but this week, this year was pretty tough. 1-2 against the spread, so we'll look to bounce back here. I know it seemed like it was like 2 years ago, but how about that field turf in Brazil? How about that? Let's go back there and play again, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. The Brazil game didn't seem to be a great time for the players. I wasn't entirely sure that I loved the commentary team, but let's not start on a bummer of the turf, Williams. All right. Let's start with the Indianapolis Colts because, damn it, this is my podcast. So we're going to start with what I want to talk about. All right. And I am all in for whatever number 5 wants to do on the football field. All right. Whatever he wants to do on the football field, I'm all in. I don't believe I've ever seen an Indianapolis Colt like him. I've been racking my brain trying to think about it, right? Certainly we've had 18 come through, and he's a great player and a great quarterback, but he was cerebral, right? He was making the right read. He was making the right play. It wasn't his athleticism that was going to win out the game. Certainly no other quarterbacks we've ever had great athleticism. Even some of our greatest wide receivers, right? Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, not necessarily guys you would label as the greatest athletes bursting off the page. Anthony Richardson can seem to score a touchdown 3 different ways on the football field at any time, or he's going to throw a ball that might take out somebody's tooth in the front row of the stands. That's just how it's going to go down. It's going to be an absolute roller coaster up and down with Steichen designing great plays. And, oh, man, that first game was exciting as all heck, Jimmy. It was exciting as all heck. What was it like being there?
It was awesome. I was sitting next to a Texan fan who was very nice, and he said, "This is a great stadium," which it is. But he goes, "Is this a playoff game or something? You guys are really loud." I'm like, "It is for us. This is all we've got." And it was electric in there. Richardson is such a weird quarterback. He can put it in the smallest of spaces 50 yards away. But he has a little swing pass to the running back, and he throws it 9 feet over his head. We are going to have a lot of podcasts, Rod, that start off like today's did. And then we're going to have some that says he can't even hit anybody. It's going to be an interesting but fun season.
No, Jimmy. No, listen, I make a solemn vow right now. I will not break bad on Anthony Richardson at any point this year. At any point this year. Notice I didn't say at any point in his career. I'm only going to give the grace period of this year, but I am not breaking bad on A-Rich at any point this year. Development, great plays. Chris, it's all going to be there, right?
Yeah, this is the most exciting Colts player we've had since Marshall Faulk, and he might have a chance to surpass that. But as a guy who at any given moment can score that touchdown, you get the ball in his hands as much as possible.
I like that call on Marshall Faulk. I think that that hurts Edgerrin James a little bit because the edge was still a pretty good athlete in his day. Williams, you're a guy that loves when we just start naming dudes. Who's possibly one of the best athletes that the Colts have had in the past 25 years, if it's not Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I think Chris is on to something. Probably Marshall Faulk. Yeah, I mean, but I said right when the Colts drafted him is that this is something that the Colts have never had before. I mean, this guy is complete boom or bust, and I'm super pro and Anthony Richardson. I know there's some people that are super anti Anthony Richardson. If you watch him in Florida, he's already improved on his accuracy. Yeah, now that may be going a bit far with some of you. Like if you didn't see him in Florida, you're like, there's no way he was worse with his accuracy in college, but he actually has improved with his accuracy. So, and remember, this guy is getting compared to Josh Allen. Josh Allen was a complete train wreck his rookie year, and look how good he is now. So I'm not saying he's going to be Josh Allen, but if you're going to comp somebody to him in his early years, I think Josh Allen is a good comp.
Jimmy, is it possible that we have the highlight of the year already with that pass that you were sort of alluding to? 60 yards on a dime to Alec Pierce, who sort of was almost in double coverage there. I mean, like, is that possible that that might be the best pass we've seen thrown all year or even in the next 10 years?
I mean, he had 3 of those in that game. So, no, I think we're going to see more than that. I will say Alec Pierce is probably going to be one of the number 1 pickups in fantasy this week, and he'll be one of the number 1 drops next week because that's just how it goes with Alec Pierce and Anthony Richardson. I think we're going to see a lot of fun stuff from him.
It's going to be boom or bust. I don't want to get to too many more Colts stuff because I see that the Colts are on our docket as one of the games Mr. Williams wants to talk about. So let's go with something that I was dead wrong on. All right. And that's what I'm going to do. We're going to go to all 3 of you gentlemen real quick here to replay last week. All right. Something you were right about and something you were wrong about. Something I was dead wrong about. I don't know why I thought that water slides and going to a water park was going to mean great things for an NFL team, but I certainly was all in on the big trip down the water slides in the overly chlorinated water for the Atlanta Falcons, and it seemed to do no good for them. My guy Kirk, don't call me Kurt Cousins, maybe having some trouble moving. We were only working out of the shotgun that entire game for a guy whose game is play action. Falcons wasted a top 10 pick on Michael Penix. Like, I wasted a number 1 pick in our wins league on the Atlanta Falcons. So that might be something that I absolutely want back. That's one that I got wrong after one that I got right, where I said I was all in on the A-Rich train. Jimmy Jam, how about you? What'd you get wrong? What'd you get right last week?
Rod, I did it again. I've done it again, and I apologize to the fan base in Cleveland. I not only picked Cleveland to win their division. It's only 1 game. I also picked Deshaun Watson to win the MVP. When I go hard, and I go down very hard. Yeah. Sorry, Cleveland. Deshaun Watson, was weird. It looked like he was trying to not pass the ball to open receivers and trying to like get hurt. And maybe if I get tackled hard, I'll get hurt on this play. That the final drive was weird. And I'm a little nervous for Cleveland moving forward, although we do have Rod, Jameis Winston waiting in the wings.
Oh, don't think I haven't been looking forward to what famous Jameis is going to be able to bring to that Brownies team, because he's a roller coaster ride if there is one. But now, Jim, all right, you did something that no one does in 2024. You admitted your fault there. What did you get right last week that you told the people?
I did pretty good on the teams I thought were going to do well. I really did good with the 49ers. I know a lot of people were picking the Jets to win that game. I thought that Purdy was gonna step up a little bit there, and I didn't mean that, William. Sorry, but I just I like the Niners. I think they did a good job. I was a little nervous with McCaffrey, but at least I got the Niners right.
All right, there you go. Jimmy was good on the Niners. He wasn't so good on the Browns. Chris, we know you were shouting from the rooftops that Browns pick was going to blow up in his face. What pick sort of blew up in your face? Let's start there, and then you can crow about what you got right.
Well, I mean, listen, there was a lot of stuff I got wrong. Let's not be shy about anything. I could have picked the Bears and Titans game. But I want to say I was wrong about New England and Cincinnati both. I had Cincinnati winning their division, and I had New England being dead last in theirs. And look what happened week 1.
Never want to overreact to week 1, but New England certainly looked a little more live than we thought. And Cincinnati, Williams, you always warned us that Cincinnati starts out slow, and they certainly did start out slow. Again, this is my podcast, so I'm going to take credit right now while I can. Told people to avoid the heck out of the Carolina versus New Orleans game. And I was right on that, right? Congratulations, New Orleans Saints fans, but that was an absolute dog game to watch. No reason to watch that. And Williams, I see that you have learned, because I would classify all 3 games that you picked coming up for us are games that I would deem people to watch. So what do you want to crow about, Williams? You told us already that you did bad last week. So what do you want to crow about? What did you get right? What do you want to remind the people? Hey, I told you this and it paid off.
Well, first of all, I was wrong on the Jets, Falcons, and Carolina. So a lot that I got wrong.
Listen, you're the handicapper here. I was trying to cut you some slack, all right? You don't have to let people behind the whole process here. Come on.
Here's the problem, though. We should have known this, because what has he been preaching to us this whole preseason, right? It's this rest metric that he's been using, right? Well, it's week 1. Everybody had the same amount of rest, so his metric wasn't going to be able to be useful to him.
I see, Chris. Look at you. This is dynamite insight out of you. We're 11 minutes in already, and that might be the best thing you've said in months. This is great work out of you.
That's true. And I thought the second best coaching performance of the week was by Kyle Shanahan. He absolutely destroyed the Jets rushing defense. And to do that when Trent Williams just came back and you had the whole Brandon Ayuk holdout, I thought was absolutely, he was a wizard on Monday night, and shame on me for going against them. Complete opposite of that. How about you mentioned it, Rod. How about Zach Taylor? The last 5 seasons in the first 2 weeks of the year, Zach Taylor is 1-8. It's one thing to go 1-8. It's a whole other thing to lose to these quarterbacks. These are who Cincinnati has lost to in those 8 games. Trubisky, Cooper Rush, Jacoby Brissett, Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor. My God, those are 5 of the 8 losses. What have you been doing all off season? But it's like the line in Office Space. What would you say you actually do here? That's what I'm going to ask Zach Taylor. What do you actually do here in Cincinnati, Zach Taylor?
I like that you did the Office Space joke there. I was going to jump in with it's a little bit Marcus Freeman-esque there. Home openers, right? It's a little bit like losing in Northern Illinois when you're a 24-point favorite. A little bit like that, possibly.
I don't remember that. When did that
getting in the Notre Dame shot like I'm prone to do here. All right, I see that the Bears are going to come up, Jimmy, so let's wait to talk about the Bears train, which I correctly got started. Whoop, whoop, let's go. I mean, come on, Jordan Love.
Yes, you were the originator of that. Yeah, yes, good job. Yep, you are.
Listen, I got right here. I made an impassioned plea on this very podcast, looking in this very screen that you folks can see right now that are watching us live on Facebook or catching up later on YouTube. I made an impassioned plea for the Bears fans on this podcast to join me and say Bears are going to win the NFC North, and you two jokers would not join me. Is that true or not, Jimmy? Are you trying to make an alternate history here?
Well, I'm fine. You win. Listen, I think the Bears are going to do great. And actually, let me tell you what I really got right, Rod. Let me tell you what I got right. Justin Fields, undefeated, reigning, defending, 1-0 quarterback for your Pittsburgh Steelers. You all doubted me. Every one of you. Williams said Fields is trash. Fields is undefeated. He beat out Russell Wilson fair and square. There were no injuries whatsoever involved. He took the Steelers down, and they scored points, and they scored more points than their opponent.
6 field goals.
Justin Fields, I was right. I win. Next question.
I really think there was a number of teams that won on Sunday that had nothing to do with the quarterbacks of that said team. Pittsburgh would be one. Chicago could be one. New England, San Francisco. Like, they won because nothing to do with the quarterback.
Fields, QB2.
Oh, listen to the guy whose team signed their quarterback to a new huge contract right before the game, trying to say that nobody else had good quarterback play. All right, you know what? Let's do that. Let's go to the Bears there. Chris just said it, Williams. All right, your Bears played a wild game. A wild game. Thank goodness for the defense. Thank goodness for the special teams. Thank goodness for Will Levis possibly maybe having money on the Bears. I don't know what was going on there with Will Levis in that game. He was trying to let some rip, and then he was trying to let others not rip, and then he was doing the Christ pose in the middle of the field while action was still happening. There was a lot going on with Will Levis in that game. But the Bears won, like I said they would. Now they're going on to face the Texans. Williams, your thoughts?
Yeah, teams that didn't score an offensive touchdown in the first half and that were losing by 2+ scores were 2 and 306 before the Bears beat the Titans on Sunday. So that's a stat for you there. Yeah, you want to go into the picks?
Yes, let's do that. Let's do Bears Texans because listen, there's enough football podcasts out there. There's enough broadcasters that will heap tons and tons and tons of praises upon the Texans and their brilliant head coach and their brilliant quarterback. And I'm sure that you're about to do it here, but I'm not going to add any fuel to that fire. There is plenty of smoke being blown up the Texans and CJ Stroud right now. I do not need to participate in it. So yes, let's go on to your picks.
Yeah, this pains me. But we did hit the Sunday night game favorite last week. I'm taking another Sunday night favorite. Jimmy, don't throw anything at me. I'm going to take Houston -6.5. You can find that everywhere here versus the Bears. This is the first Sunday night football game for Houston in 5 years. Meanwhile, the Bears have lost 7 games in a row on Sunday night football, losing all those games by at least 10 points per game. The number one overall picks in primetime in the rookie seasons are only 1-5 straight up here. And this isn't a familiar opponent for Eberflus. He really hasn't been tested in the last 7 or 8 games dating back to last year. This is a major step up in class versus these wide receivers that Houston has, Nico Collins, Steph Diggs, and Tank Dell. Also, the vet Joe Mixon looked like he turned back the clock last week, so that's another concern. The biggest concern.
Wait a minute. I got to stop you there. I'm not going to allow anyone to give Joe Mixon credit. All right, that is completely a Colts defense, and a Gus Bradley is a terrible defensive coordinator that allowed Joe Mixon to have that game. Joe Mixon is not resurgent. Joe Mixon is not going to end the year as the number 1 overall fantasy running back. Let's calm down on the Joe Mixon. Not that you were going there, Williams. I'm talking other people that I've heard that from.
Yeah, we'll get to Gus Bradley and more later. Yeah, we did say on the Texans preview earlier this year that if their offensive line stayed healthy, that Joe Mixon could have a surprising year. Because they had the worst offensive line luck last year. But yeah, this is a major step up. The biggest concern for me for the Bears is the offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. He massively misused JSN last year in Seattle, and now his week 1 performance this season, let's just say it left a lot to be desired. So it's only week 1, but this is why I wanted the Bears to go out and get Ben Johnson, but that's a whole different topic. I do like the Bears this year to possibly sneak into the playoffs. That being said, this is an incredibly tough spot for them. Unexpected win last week after being down 17-0. So the sense of urgency versus an out-of-conference opponent might not be there for a week 2 road game. You've got a rookie quarterback making his road debut, and it's in prime time versus one of the best teams in the AFC. And Keenan Allen, who dropped a touchdown last week, who some people, I won't name names, seem to have forgotten that. He's banged up already and appears that Roma Dunze won't suit up either. Just not sure at this moment in week 2 when they're still working out the kinks that this Bears team is ready for prime time here. 81% of the tickets are on the Bears, but 91% of the money is on the Texans. Give me the Texans -6.5 here on Sunday night.
I'm fading the public, baby. Bears. I'm riding the Bears train. I'm not jumping off week 2. Jimmy Jam, what are you doing?
Well, I'm wrong about everything, so I might as well be wrong about this too. I think the Bears are hurting a little bit at the receiver. They do have Velus Jones. He's good. He's real solid. I am worried about I think the Bears are going to win. I actually do, because CJ Stroud did okay last week. He didn't do anything special. It was really the run game that set up a lot of that. And I think the Bears defense, the Bears defense compared to the Colts defense and every single player is not, it's not even close. So I think the Bears have that going for them. They're going to rattle CJ Stroud. I think the Bears win. So take the Bears in the points.
Chris, I was thinking about you the other day and wanting to give you a little bit of credit here, because I think what's going on with CJ Stroud right now is a little bit of what went on with Justin Herbert. And you were one of the first people to push back against all of the extreme praise that was thrown Justin Herbert's way when you were like, hey, well, wait a minute. Can the guy actually do something? I'm not trying to say CJ Stroud can't play football. Clearly, he has a record that says he can throughout his early NFL career. I just think people are going a little far with him. What are your thoughts?
There are some quarterbacks out there have yet to really prove themselves, whether it be Herbert. You could make the case for Lawrence and Jacksonville hasn't really proven too much yet, but they're getting a whole lot of praise. I do think that Chicago made Tony Pollard look like a polished seasoned NFL running back last week. And I don't know if Joe Mixon is really a downgrade to Tony Pollard, maybe even a slight upgrade. If they couldn't slow down Pollard, who had over 5 yards per carry and a touchdown, that does not bode well for Chicago. And hopefully for me, Rod, this game ends in a tie and neither team wins.
I forgot about your fandom, how that's affecting everything this year. I like that. I like that. All right. You know what? Speaking of fandom, let's move on to the Colts, who are taking on the Green Bay Packers, who for some reason are trying to subterfuge everyone right now and say, no, there's a chance that Jordan Love might suit up and play. When I certainly don't think so. I think we're getting Malik Willis, and I think that we're still getting a Gus Bradley defensive coordinated defense for the Colts, and we're getting a lot of cornerbacks that are not necessarily as good as you'd like them to be, and we're going to have Anthony Richardson making great plays, and I'm going to be excited by it, and the Colts are probably going to lose, unfortunately. That's what I think, because everybody's going to be on them. Everybody's going to think the Packers are going to fall on their face without Jordan Love, and the Colts are going to lose. Williams, you're the football handicapper here. What do you say?
Rod, that was an impressive take there. That was a handicap take. That's what I'm going with. I'm going Packers +3, -115 on DK. I got this line at +3.5. There's been incredibly sharp movement on the Packers here. It's already down to 2.5 on MGM and Caesars. Before you guys throw tomatoes at me for picking against the Bears and Colts on this pod. Yeah. So what Jimmy said, that's part of my handicap. We'll get to that a little later. This look ahead line has moved 8 points. 8 points is insane. That's like going from Joe Montana to Tommy Lasagna. That's too much. Nice. We don't bet teams here. We bet numbers, and this number has gone too far. Extra 2 days rest here for LaFleur's game plan. And get this stat, backups in their first start as an underdog, you think they would be terrible against the spread? They're actually 37, 30, and 2 against the spread over the past 3 seasons. That's 55%. The Texans offense ran 76 plays last week. The Colts offense ran 43. So the Colts had less than 25 minutes of possession time here. And over the last decade, teams that had less than 25 minutes of possession time in week 1 are only 6-25 against the spread in their week 2 games. That number is astonishing, coming in at less than a 20% winning clip. That tells you how gassed the defenses are from these teams. I think this is a huge game for the Packers. They have to hold serve at home here. I think the Colts put up a massive effort going into that week 1 game, like what Jimmy said. If they wanted any shot at winning the division this season, what was the one game they had to win? It was the Texans game at home. It just so happens the NFL schedule makers put that as the first game of the year. Now, after a hard-fought, close loss, they have to go up to Lambeau and play a Packers team that's coming off 2 extra days rest, playing in their home opener. And, oh, by the way, this is Anthony Richardson's first true outdoor road game in the NFL, and he's a favorite. So
That's insane. It's like an 18th game overall period.
Richardson made 3 highlight reels last week, and they were awesome. But in between, that he was only 6 of 16 on the day. So I know what you're going to say. Malik Willis stinks. This is Chris.
Yes.
Malik Willis stinks.
Correct.
What I will remind you, though, is that he has prepped for this Colts D twice a year for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's not that hard to prep for because Gus Bradley runs cover 3 and a little cover 2 80% of the time, and he hardly ever blitzes. So I love the Colts offense, and Steichen knows he has to get a lot of the plays when you have a behemoth of a quarterback under center with that much athleticism. When you have an explosive offense like this, the Colts want as many possessions as possible. The problem I have with the Colts isn't that they have a bad D. We knew that their back seven wasn't good, wasn't going to be great this year. My problem is that Gus Bradley's defensive philosophy does not mesh up well with Steichen's offensive philosophy. If you want to wear these teams down with JT and A-Rich behind that top 5-0 line in the fourth quarter, and you want to take deep shots off play action, your defense has to take more chances on their side of the ball. And what good does it do for the Colts offense if the D just sags back in cover 3 for majority of the game? They don't blitz. They don't bring any exotic formations at you. They don't show you one thing and then get out of it at the snap. They don't do any of that. So what does that do? It keeps the Colts D out on the field for multiple double-digit drives where the team just gasses on defense. So that's why I don't like this Colts defensive philosophy paired up with Steichen's offensive philosophy.
We don't bet teams, we bet numbers here, Jimmy. That's a slogan, right? Like we need one of those little like rejoinders every once in a while, or we need stickers printed up or something like that. That was great out of our guy Williams. What do the numbers say to you, James Thomas?
They say that, we made fun of you made comment that Richardson has like 18 starts in his career, or 18 games in his career. Malik Willis has 12. He started 3 games, and those are all in 2022. Hasn't started the past couple games. He has 0 passing yards this year. And why do I say that? Well, he was in for 2 plays. Yeah, one was a Hail Mary at the end of the game he should have thrown, and at least would have been an incompletion, if anything. He's got 350 yards for his career. 3 INTs. I am taking the over at 1.5 INTs for sure. If you can find it, I can't even find Malik Willis prop bets anywhere because that's how bad he is. I just don't think they're going to be able to move the ball at all, Rod. They're going to have everybody up in the box and they're going to dare him to throw it. I think the Colts are going to feast on him.
Look out. Look at Jimmy Jam. I'm riding the Bears train. Jimmy's now rolling the Colts train. Chris, down to you. What do you got for us?
Green Bay gave up 144 yards on the ground last week to Philadelphia on a horrible field in Brazil. I think Richardson and JT can do even more damage in Green Bay. Give me the Colts outright winners.
Nice. Look at that. I'm down with the handicapper. Usually I'm the one who's giving Williams crap about his picks. This time Williams and I are aligned, and I'm going against my Colts, even though I'm all in for the A-Rich train, and I will not be bad-mouthing him or Shane Steichen. Gus Bradley will be the object of my scorn for the Colts this year, and of course, any craziness that comes out of the owner, because I've always been quick to say that the owner is absolutely batshit at times. But let's move off of that game, and let's go to a game not necessarily involving 2 teams that are fan favorites of any of ours, but I think it's going to be a pretty exciting game, except for the fact that Puka Nacua is not going to be participating in games for the Rams for quite a while. And at least one person on this podcast was planning on Puka Nacua being a solid keeper on his team and a number 1 wide receiver, and decided to let Rashid Rice go back up into the draft. And boy, am I regretting that decision right now. That's about all I have to say on the Rams. Mr. Williams, what do you have to say?
Yeah, that's 2 people. I have Puka in a best ball, so not best ball draft, so that's not great either. But yeah, usually I would be taking the trend here, going against the team that just is coming off a tough overtime road loss, and now it has to go on the road again. But I told you that the second best coaching performance of the week last week was Kyle Shanahan. I think the best coaching performance last week was Sean McVay in a loss. That's why I'm taking the Rams plus 1.5 minus 112 on DK at Zona. Zona let Josh Allen complete 80% of his passes for 10 yards per attempt. And Kyler has historically struggled versus the Rams. He's historically struggled at home, just 5-11 against the spread as a home favorite.
You know what else Kyler struggles doing? Getting things off the top shelf. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. He's historically struggled in home division games, just 4-10 against the spread. That's 29%. And McVay is 12-7-2 against the spread on the road, coming off a loss. And overall, coming off a loss, he's 24-15-3 against the spread. That's 62%. McVay is also 13-2 straight up versus the Cards in his career. And like I said, no hyperbole. I thought the best coaching performance and the best quarterback performance was Sean McVay, Matt Stafford, and the new defensive coordinator, Chris Shula. For the Rams to take the Lions into overtime on the road was unbelievable, man. McVay was just carving up left and right. He was attacking the Lions rookie cornerback Arnold the whole game, and you don't get much from coaches at their halftime interviews. But Dan Campbell, he was stuttered. Like he was like he said, he's like, man, this quarterback and this coach knows how to attack us. And someone who has a Lions future to win the NFC, that's not great to hear from your head coach. But he was being honest. And McVay and Stafford absolutely tore that Detroit Lions defense up. They were fortunate. The Lions were to get out there, to get out with a win. 73% of the tickets are on Zona, but 92% of the money is on the Rams here. I know it's a tough spot for them, but I'm just not going against Sean McVay and Matt Stafford. I honestly think that I know these guys have won a Super Bowl. I honestly think that game was the best coaching game and the best game Stafford has ever played.
Week 1.
Week 1.
Year 37. Not the Super Bowl that he won, right? That's not the greatest game that he's ever played. Week 1.
Most important game, yes, but I'm just talking about just those guys. Those guys were on a whole other level, man. It was
okay.
It
All
was
right,
a joy to
that's
watch.
fair. I'm not listen.
Yeah.
You know more about football than I do. Let me just ask one other question. Okay. So you said McVay, he's involved. Certainly, he's doing the dials. Certainly, Stafford's involved because he's a quarterback. How much credit are we to give to Cooper Kupp then, who had 21 targets and 14 catches? You know what I mean? Like, so I love me some Stafford too, and I get that he's a guy that can read defenses and has a great arm, but Cooper's got to be involved somehow here, right?
Yeah. Cooper was awesome, and for someone who has Cooper in my season long league, I love that. I am a little worried that he looked gassed at the end of that game in week 1,
21
man.
targets. I hope so.
So I'm a little worried that just to take a little easy on the guy, man. So
yeah,
let's get some other guys involved.
Throw the ball to what's his name, Demarcus Robinson. Throw the ball to that guy a little bit. All right, let's do.
But the way they schemed that game up to get those wide receivers open and just, man, Stafford under pressure, just throwing dimes that game. He was fantastic.
All right, Chris, let me ask you it this way. How mad should Kyle Shanahan be right now if he's listening to the podcast after hearing Williams just wax philosophical about Sean McVay there?
I wouldn't be, because Shanahan won, and he's waxing poetic about a guy who lost. And what I'm going to also remind people that I said last week was going to be the most exciting game of the week, Lions versus Rams, and it by far was. But if you have your quarterback's best performance, your coach's best performance, and your new defense's best performance, I guess, so far, and you can't do more than 20 points, maybe you should be thinking about changing some things up, because if that's as best as you can do, if you're carving up that defense, why aren't you scoring more than 20 points?
Look, the Lions are going to make people look bad this year, man. And for how many injuries the Rams had everywhere in that game, the offensive line, the injuries, that's what I'm taking into effect. So I'm not results oriented. I'm decision oriented. And I think the decision oriented from Sean McVay and Stafford was fantastic on Sunday night.
All right, Chris, it's my turn. Hey, my turn this week. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I cannot believe that you actually said that out loud. That is dumb. You are dumb. Your takes are dumb. Everything is dumb, Williams. I don't care about results.
I'm decision oriented, not results oriented. That's
like
a
No. Forget about the results, Rod. Forget about it.
Tony Robbins over here, man, just dropping all these like little nuggets of wisdoms on us, man.
Is this because Williams knows he's going to win the or lose the win pool? Is he already saying that he's not results oriented because he knows he's going to lose that?
I'm leading. Let's get an update, Jimmy.
Yeah. Well, right now we have after week 1, Williams is leading with 5 wins. Oh, we're not good. Rod has 4 wins. Good job, Rod. Second place, of course, tied with me with also 4 wins.
Yeah, because you guys have made the mistake of trying to give me some certain team just for spite, and they gave me a win. It was one of my 5 wins.
That is a valid point. The Patriots did say it came back to bite me on that
Rod,
one.
it wasn't spite. It was strategy.
I told you I was wrong about them.
I gave out the Panthers, who absolutely looked putrid. So definitely I knew the strategy of what we were supposed to do there.
Yes. Speaking of putrid, Chris King, 3 wins. Way to go, Chris.
Jimmy is coming with fire this week. This is what I absolutely love to see. I love it when Jimmy gets this fired up with the football show, and I can see that he's not tired, and we're getting close to near the end of football right here, and then we're going to roll into wrestling, and we're going to have a great, exciting wrestling show for you, but we're going to wrap up here. I want to give all of the gentlemen a chance for anything they want to speak about before we wrap up football here, and then I got a little Rod Damnation as we close out. Ooh. Jimmy Jam, anything that we didn't bring up about last week, anything you want to say about this week going in? This is your final NFL take for the week.
You know, a lot of people said that the rookie quarterbacks really played crappy, but we didn't talk about the Broncos or Commanders too much. I think we got a couple quarterbacks there. I know Bo Nix wasn't the best. They were winning for a little while there. Just calm down, people. We're not results oriented on this podcast. It's a long-term play. New quarterbacks will be fine.
We don't play the teams, we play the numbers, and Jaden Daniels' fantasy numbers were number one quarterback stuff. I was loving it. Chris, your final take for the week.
Listen, I told you last week we needed to watch the Lions and the Rams for an exciting game. But you, Rod, have talked about this man, and he goes up against the Lions this week. And I think this is also the game to watch. Buccaneers at Detroit. You're going to see Baker Mayfield, who put up 37 last week, go up against Detroit.
And 4 tutties out of the guy Baker last week, man. Good to see my guy doing things. Williams, what do you got for us? You want to? This is a great spot for your circle back. You could give us a little bonus pick here. The floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, we're circling back on what Jimmy said here. And also, if you make the right decisions, the results will follow, Jimmy. Okay. So we had 188 passing yards per game for quarterbacks in week 1. That was the worst since week 15 of 2007. We only had 34 touchdowns. There was 61 touchdowns just a couple years ago in week 1. So yeah, we may have a quarterback problem in this league. So, and also for the sky is falling for the Caleb Williams crew. Let's get this under control here. I'm going to give you some stats. First game for John Elway, 1 of 8 with 1 interception. That's right. John Elway in his first game went 1 of 8 with 1 interception. Joe Montana, 5 of 12 for 36 yards. Big Ben, 12 of 20 with 2 picks. Peyton Manning, 3 picks. Troy Aikman, 17 of 35. He got shut out. So let's just settle down. And remember, Keenan Allen did drop a touchdown pass. Okay. So all you Caleb Williams haters out there, you know who you are.
Number one
Okay.
fan for Nance.
Let's settle it down. 1 game. Okay. 1 game.
Listen, Williams, don't alienate our one fan. All right, don't just go after Corey, our one fan. All right, come on.
I don't
But
understand no more
What?
distractions. But
Wow,
I do believe
he's
we
got a
should
plan
all
underneath me
follow
here. I
one
have my
path
own
in
little
life.
intro for it.
Hubris,
It's Rod
and
Nation
ego
time.
and pride. Sorry, all that was a complete lie.
All right, my Rod Damnation is something that it just frankly has to be said, okay? Because we had a bit of a 48-hour news cycle coming out of Sunday's Dolphins game where we had body cam footage, we had police, we had arrests, we had police behavior, we had race, all front and center once again, and we had all of these conversations about what can be done, what should the Dolphins do, what should the NFL do, what should Tyreek do, and I couldn't help but think to myself, has there been anybody else who was an NFL football player who quite possibly was maybe completely misunderstood when all he was absolutely trying to do was talk about situations like we saw unfold to Tyreek Hill before that game, okay? Tyreek Hill himself said it. If he wasn't Tyreek Hill, the celebrity, who knows how that situation would have devolved, okay? We've all seen the footage. Those officers got angry quickly, okay? I appreciate that Tyreek has said maybe he could have been a little bit more cooperative, but I got to tell you, I'm not the first guy who's going to be cooperative right away as well, right? Pride starts stepping in. You want to do the little bit you can. The little bit you can is push back, right? And they instantly got mad, instantly handcuffs, instantly down on the ground, instantly on the back. If only an NFL player who had a huge, shiny platform had ever tried to say that NFL players are not immune from terrible, terrible treatment from the police. If only that had ever happened again.
Yeah, you're 100% right, Rod.
Well said.
Goodbye, Internet.